Welcome back to Final Fantasy XVI. Last time, we made our way... Well, really a lot happened last time. But at the end of it, we made our way here to a secret hideout. And side quests are now available to us. So hallelujah, everybody. Everybody's favorite side quests. I do not plan to get as deep into side quests as I did in Final Fantasy 15. However, this game might have... I have no way of knowing if it is or isn't. But if this game is built like 7 Remake when it comes to side quests, then they shouldn't be a problem. Alright, I was just looking into actually my own old video and trying to figure out how to use some of those attacks I can use being gifted by the Phoenix. I might have it figured out, maybe. Maybe not.
It sounds like Otto has everything under control.
Don't think I haven't noticed. Stealing sips from that pot.
Next time you're in, first round's on the ass. Next time you're in, first round's on the ass.
Ah, a new face. And, dare I hope, a willing pair of hands. The fat chocobo is a demanding mistress, and we are too few to keep her on her feet. Might I persuade you to deliver a meal or two to souls in need of sustenance? For your trouble, I can offer you the contents of my strongbox and my enduring gratitude.
I don't see why not.
Marvelous. And who exactly do I have the honor of addressing?
Clive.
Delighted to make your acquaintance, Clive. I'm Kenneth, and mine are the weary shoulders upon which the weight of this fine establishment rests. Now, I have 3 hungry customers awaiting their victuals. Take these if you would, and be careful, they're hot.
Oh, meal. How long has it been? Your food.
I was hoping it might be. Well, doesn't this look fine? Thank you, lad. You're new, aren't you? Kenneth's running you ragged already, I expect, the old rascal.
Well, he did say he'd give me something for my trouble.
And so he should. We're not slaves anymore. Well met, lad, and keep up the good work. It's nice to see the hideaway finally coming alive. Wasn't so long ago us old hands were ratting about the place like peas in a bucket. It's nice to see the hideaway finally coming alive. So long ago
Sits up there in that hole. Scheming.
Yeah.
Oh, my thanks. I hope you do not think me lazy for waiting to be served like a lord. Only my former master did not use me kindly, you see. He left me half lame, truth be told. But Sid took me in nonetheless. Well, the hideaway is the home I never knew, and a mighty fine one at that. I'd been cast out and left for dead when Sid found me. There's not a day goes by I don't count my blessings. I'd been cast out and left for dead when Sid found me. There's not a day goes by.
The Ironblood were quick to sound the retreat once Titan turned up.
Fat lot of good that icon of theirs did them.
You'd think he'd have time for a nip with old August before scampering back to his solar, but no.
Lonely, are we, August?
You know, just something about this game. The way the way it presents itself in some areas, it kind of reminds me of. It kind of has the feel of an MMO. Yeah, of an MMO. And I've never played an actual MMO before, but just something about it just kind of gives me that impression.
It's nice to see the hideaway finally coming alive. Wasn't so long ago us old hands were ratting about the place like peas in a bucket. It's nice to see the hideaway finally coming alive. Wasn't so long ago us old hands were ratting about the...
Well. There's so much more to farming than just seeds and soil.
Your food.
Just a moment. I need to finish this. I won't be a burden. I'm of no use to anyone as I am, but maybe if I can master this.
All right, but see that you eat it before it gets cold.
Of course. Thank you.
That's the last one. I'd better let Kenneth know.
Yours is not a familiar face. Are you new to the hideaway, perchance?
You could say that.
Well then, allow me to welcome you. I am Harpocrates II Hyperboreus.
That's,
Quite a mouthful, I know. Which is why everyone here has taken to calling me simply Tomes, on account of the company I keep. And what varied company. I'm a collector, you see. Not of bijou and baubles, but of stories. The history and culture of these isles have ever been a source of endless fascination to me. But alas, my days of wandering the realm in search of new tales are far behind me. And so I've taken to sharing that which I've gathered with all who might listen. Perhaps you would care to listen. When I was very young...
I don't know why it does this. I mean, it's no big deal, but it just seems a little odd. It's especially odd when they start to read, and then they don't read the whole thing, you know. It starts with the voice actor reading this line, but he only gets partially, he only gets it partially read, and that's it. When I was very young and lived beyond these shores, my father would read to me every night from the only book we had, a history of Vosthia by Moss the Chronicler. So enchanted was I by this realm of myth and magic that when I was of age I enlisted as a deckhand on a merchant galley, that I might see it with my own eyes.
Yet, when I arrived,
what I found was a land of war and suffering, darkened by the blight and the evil in men's hearts. Still, I was determined to follow in my footsteps of Moss and record what I could. And so I did, in all manner of places, in all manner of roles, until my aging legs could carry me no longer.
fortunately,
Sid found me by the roadside, so to speak, and offered me a place here, where I might continue my studies, albeit without the wandering.
I don't believe you've read this particular chapter before.
The Thousand Tomes is a comprehensive compendium of Valestian lore, covering everything from basic terms to important persons, geography, and history. New information is constantly added as Clive progresses through the story. Past active time lore entries can also be viewed here.
I have a few new notes that might interest you. What subject shall we consider today?
Dominant those within whom sleeps the power of the icon. Though they look and think no differently to any other man or woman, they cannot only cast elemental magics without a crystal, but also transform themselves into beasts and world-shattering strength at any moment. A quality for which they are honored, worshipped, and feared the realm over. Akon, magical beings of godlike strength who dwell within human hosts known as dominants, only emerging when the dominant primes. History records 8 icons in total, each with a unique elemental affinity. It is commonly held that 2 icons of the same element cannot coexist, but as none has ever witnessed all of these rare creatures together, the conjecture is yet to be proved. So there's supposed to be 8. There's supposed to be 8 icons. I'm guessing, since they say that there's not supposed to be 2 of the same element existing at the same time, it's not counting both Phoenix and Ifrit. So let's just not count Ifrit then. So you got Phoenix, we've seen Shiva, we've seen Titan. I can only think Ramu is one as well. Maybe Leviathan. Maybe Bahamut. And that would be all the ones that are also in Final Fantasy 15 as the 6. Maybe a wind elemental one, like Pandemonium from Final Fantasy 8, Although I doubt that's the one they'd use. What are some other wind elemental summons in Final Fantasy games? I don't know. Maybe Odin is one of them? Priming, the act of a dominant transforming their living flesh into that of their Acon. Dominants most often prime during times of war, using the immense strengths of their icons to turn the tides of battle. Though it is usually done deliberately, the dominant remaining in control of the Acon. Even when primed, on occasion, a dominant will lose control of their powers and see their icon run riot. The Battle of Nissa. The Battle of Nissa was a short yet bloody clash between the Iron Republic and the Republic of Dalmatia in the year 873. The Dalmatians, hoping to force an end to their long-running conflict with the Iron Blood, had convinced a council of Zernitra stronghold and entreated their Wallodeer allies to aid them in their cause. However, talks soon broke down to the Dalmatians. Talks soon broke down, and the Dalmatians were left with no choice but to rely once more on the power of the mighty Titan, to whom they already owed a considerable debt. Thus was the stage set for a showdown between Titan and Shiva, the Ironblood's own icon, in which losers on both sides were too many to count. So, that big guy we saw at the very beginning of the game that was about to get fristy with the hot chick with the short blonde hair. Is he Titan? I'm guessing he's Titan. He's gotta be. The Iron Kingdom. An archipelago nation situated off the west coast of Storm, with its capital at Craig Loiskit. The Mother Crystal Drake's Breath rises from a volcanic island situated just within its borders, and it's worshipped as a god, just as the state religion. The crystalline orthodox dictates. This same religion decrees the use of magic to be anathema, and the bears and dominants who use it to be sinful aberrations, leading to even greater discrimination than that suffered by their brethren on the mainland. Given their stated desire to control all the mothers, the Ironbloods' attitude for other nations is one of indelible antagonism. Yeah, why is the layout of all this information given to me like this? It's kind of all over the place. It started me here on Faith Unbending. Hit L1 to go over to basic information, and all the tabs on the bottom change. Like, this is just a cluster of shit. The Iron Kingdom, also known in the local tongue as Heron. The Iron Kingdom is an archipelago nation situated off the west coast of Storm, with its capital at half of this is just the same shit. The Iron Kingdom's inhabitants shun any contact with outsiders, which has given rise to a unique, if largely inward-looking culture. The Iron Crusade. The fighting forces of the Iron Kingdom. Ultimate command rests with the king, who issues orders directly to the commanders of each of his battalions. Iron Blood soldiers generally prefer heavy clubs and great axes over swords and other lighter weapons. This rather brutal approach is indicative of their overall attitude, which has earned them a reputation on the continent as savage, if somewhat primitive warriors. Shiva, the Warden of Ice, of whom Jill Warwick is the current dominant. With her glacial aspect and ability to conjure boreal boulders from the aether, Shiva's appearance on the battlefield makes her enemy's blood run cold. And that's her unmasked. Her mask says, the Warden of Ice, whose appearance on the battlefield makes her enemy's blood run cold. The Iron Blood sent Shiva against the Republican forces in the Nisa Defile, where she dueled against Titan, the Acon of Earth. Jill Warwick, dominant of Shiva and Clive's childhood friend in the depths of the Nisa Defile, the two came to blows at the orders of the armies that enslaved them, Jill fighting to defend the priests of the Iron Kingdom, Clive obeying the Empire's orders to take the head of Shiva's dominant. Exhausted from her tilt with Titan, Jill came close to falling to her assassin's blaze, but war sparred at the last moment when Clive's memories of their time together came flooding back. Born a princess of the Northern Territories, Jill was made a ward of Rosaria after her homeland's incessant raids were quelled by the duchy. She was raised in Rosalith Castle alongside Clive and Joshua, who came to love her as a sister. She was a princess, by the way, everybody. When she waved the brothers farewell on the day they departed for Phoenix Gate, little did she know of the misfortune that awaited both them and her. Okay, why? It should just start me at the very left. Clive Rossfield, firstborn son of Archduke Elwyn, ruler of Rosaria. From a young age, Clive dedicated himself to mastering the blade, and his practice paid off when he was appointed first shield of Rosaria. tasked to guard the Phoenix and blessed with the ability to wield a part of his fire. Though all expected him to inherit the Phoenix's flames and awaken as its dominant, Destiny instead chose his younger brother Joshua to bear that burden. In search of a role of his own, Clive dedicated himself to mastering the blade, and his practice paid off when he was appointed first shield of Rosaria. Yeah, they've gone about doing this a weird way, let me just say. Though it was his sworn duty to protect his father and younger brother, both lost their lives in a tragedy brought about by his mother, Duchess Annabella. Taken into custody by the Imperial Army, he was branded as a bearer and forced to serve as a slave soldier. Wyvern, a slave soldier for the Holy Empire of Sambrake, now in his 13th year of servitude. Though drafted as a frontline infantryman, the magical might granted him by the blessing of the Phoenix quickly saw him promoted to an elite squadron of assassins, where he was assigned the moniker by which he is now known. Their latest mission to descend into the Nisa Defile, where bloody battle rages between the Iron Kingdom and the Republic of Dalmikia, and take the head of Shiva's dominant. An Imperial barrier turned deserter after refusing to slay the dominant of Shiva, choosing instead to turn his blade on his own sergeant. As a force of crusaders closed around him, his freedom seemed as if it would be short-lived until the timely intervention of Sid, a man who shared Clive's desire to see the dominant freed from their clutches. Together they escaped to Sid's secret hideaway. Branded soldier. The guy that got an X to the head. Bearers forced to fight for the nation that enslaved them, able to cast powerful magics yet entirely disposable. They are often placed on the front lines in battle, or assigned to highly dangerous scouting or assassination missions. I guess you just don't have a name. The Bastards. A person with the power to cast magics without a crystal. In Valisthea, men and women who awaken as bearers are enslaved. They are marked with a brand upon their cheek and used as tools, a cheaper alternative to the scarce and precious shards. This system of slavery has persisted for centuries and has become so ingrained in Valisthean life that few take pity upon the bearers' plight, seeing them as less than human. Magic, the art of channeling aether to make one's imagination manifest. This can take the aspect of one of the 8 elements: fire, water, wind, earth, ice, thunder, light, and dark. Or more rarely, be unexpected. While bearers and dominants can cast spells at will, others require a crystal to do so. Magic is a part of everyday life for the people of Valisthea, making it all but unlivable when they are deprived of its gift. Crystal, one of the most valuable materials known to mankind, thanks to its abilities to channel ambient aether from the air, allowing those without an innate power to do so to cast magics. And as most Valsdians cannot live without magic, its supply and distribution is heavily regulated by the governments across the Twins. A given shard can only channel a certain amount of aether before it shatters, so the need for new crystals is incessant. The mother crystals. Enormous glassy mountains, 5 of which tower over the lands of Valisthea. They are the source of all the crystals that the people of the Twins rely on in their everyday lives. Not only that, but the lands surrounding them are rich with aether. Without the magics, the crystals cast even more potent. For these reasons, great nations have sprung up around each mother crystal and have long warred with each other for possession of their blessings. Crystal, which I already read. Aether, the life force of the land and the source of all magic. The amount of aether a spell consumes depends on its strength, with those manifesting more potent forces over a wider area coming at a greater cost. Larger crystals can channel more aether than smaller ones, and thus can be used to cast more powerful magics. One might use a small ration shard to grill a fish, but would require a large municipal crystal to fire a blacksmith's forge. The Deadlands. Barren wastes bereft of aether, where no life stirs and magic is all but unsuitable or unusable. Here both earth and water are stained black, preventing any seed from quickening. In recent years, the blight has spread even more widely, displacing whole nations before it, driving once peaceful or peaceable fauna to violent desperation and leaving silent devastation in its wake. Valisthea, a realm comprising the twin continents of Storm and Ash, over which the mother crystals stand timeless vigil. At the foot of each great cities have risen up over the eons, and around them powerful nations. Though the land has been blessed with the light of magic since the immemorial, though the land has been blessed with light of magic since the immemorial, in recent years a creeping darkness has begun to gnaw at its borders, the blight. Storm, the westerly of Valisthea's 2 great continents, with its frozen northern reaches, its temperate marshy midlands, and the searing heat of the south, it boasts a breadth of climes and cultures not seen anywhere else in the known realms. The Grand Duchy of Rosaria, a nation occupying the western reaches of the continent of Storm, the Rosalith as its capital. Rosaria was originally formed from a collection of smaller dominions, all of which now stand united under the banner of Archduke Elwin Rosefield. Not possessing a mother crystal of its own, the duchy has long been locked in bitter conflict with the Iron Kingdom over possession of Drake's Breath, which lies still further to the west in the mists of the boiling sea. Elwin Rosfield, Archduke of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria and father of Clive and Joshua, loved by his people for his steadfast leadership both at home and on the battlefield, which he put to good effect in quelling the rebellious northern territories. Archduke of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria and father of Clive and Joshua, Elwin was born before his father, the previous dominant of the Phoenix. Elvin was born before his father, the previous dominant of the Phoenix, passed away, so he did not inherit the Icon's powers. Instead, he devoted himself to the study of swordcraft and statesmanship that he might lead his country from the front, which he did to wide acclaim in leading his armies and quelling the rebellious northern territories. Late Archduke of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria was father of Clan Joshua. Elwin's reign ended when he was beheaded by servants of the Holy Empire of Sanbreak in their ignoble attack on Phoenix Gate. Known not only for his inspiring leadership and skill with the blade, but his disapproval of the mistreatment of bearers, his legacy lives on in all those who oppose imperial rule in what remains of Rosaria. Cid's hideaway. A refugee hidden in the blighted lands of Central Storm, from which Cid operates his secretive community of freed bears. While survival in the Deadlands is widely considered impossible, a combination of near indestructible fallen ruins and considerable ingenuity have led to the establishment of a safe haven where those who rally to their leaders' cause are only just about able to eke out an albeit meager existence. Second son of the Archduke of Rosaria, Joshua was appointed heir to the ducal throne by virtue of his awakening as the dominant of the Phoenix. His love and admiration for his elder brother Clive is absolute, and he is only too proud to have him serve as his first shield. His love for carrots less known. Upon the night of the imperial invasion of Phoenix Gate, the shock of seeing his father slain before his disbelieving eyes led to him losing control of his icon and setting the castle alight. From the flames rose a second icon of fire, whose murderous rampage laid both the castle and the Phoenix low. Torgal, Clive's faithful friend, brought back from one of Archduke Elwin's expeditions in the frozen northern territories, where he was found half-starved and shivering in a snowfield. Having presumably been separated from his pack, Elwin gifted the puppy to Clive upon his return, and the two became nigh inseparable. Until the tragic events at Phoenix Gate tore them apart. Now he's fully grown. After the tragic events at Phoenix Gate, Clive believed that Torgal was lost to him forever. However, their paths were to cross again some 13 years later when Torgal's new master Cid named Clive's rescue in the depths of the Nisa Defile. Despite their long years apart, the two knew each other as if not a single day had passed since their separation. Yeah, what are the odds of that? That Cid he somehow, some way ended up becoming the new owner of Torgal, and we are reunited with Torgal, just like that. Ambrosia. Born in the stables of Rosalith Castle Ambrosia was chosen by the young Clive Rosefield to be his personal steed and raised by him from a chick. She is a proud bird and deeply loyal to her master, quickly turning her beak upon any but who should attempt to pet her. Clive's personal steed. During the attack on Phoenix Gate, she raced to Clive's rescue, saving him from certain death at the cost of an eye, a price she gladly paid. Sidolphus Telamon. Cornered by a battalion of Iron Kingdom Crusaders in the depths of Nisa Defile, Clive thought his end was nigh, until Sid appeared and spirited him and Jill away to his secret hideaway in the Deadlands. Benedicta Harmon. Commander of the Kingdom of Wayload's elite intelligencers, who sits by her liege's side at the highest tables of state, most recently in her negotiations with the Delmex at the Zernitra stronghold, but Barnabas is not the only one with whom she shares a special bond. Benedicta also has eyes and ambitions on Hugo Kupka. Who is Barnabas? Oh, I guess they all do have names. There's a lot of shit here to read. I do want to read it. I'm sorry. Hugo Kupka. Kupka's awakening as the dominant of the Akon Titan, there you go, thrust him to the forefront of Dalmatian politics, winning him influence over both the Republic's armies and its policy making, as well as a personal fortune. He has little love for his country, taking advantage of his position to benefit himself and himself alone. His love for Benedicta Harmon, however, is absolute, and he would gladly betray his every ally just to be with her. I know she's hot, man, but she ain't worth it. She's a stuck-up bitch. Royal Knight, Lord Commander. Guess we don't have a name for this guy yet. Lord Commander of the Kingdom of Wayload's armies. He accompanied his liege to Fort Zernitra in the Republic of Dalmatia to negotiate the provision of reinforcements from the Royal Order of Knights. King of Wayload, the aloof and unshakable Barnabas Tharmer, first of his name. Few can meet his steely gaze without flinching. So this is Barnabas? Otto, chief steward of Sid's Hideaway, who manages the day-to-day running of their operation and their friend's deed. Sid often being taken far and away by his bear liberating activities. Even when Sid is at home, he prefers to leave such busy work to Otto, much to the hard-pressed purser's indignation. Tarja, resident Seasicker of Sid's Hideaway. Tarja is an expert in all manner of medicines and medical interventions, skills that are indispensable in their deadland home, where they cannot call on healing magics after Sid brings an unconscious Jill back to the hideaway from his expedition to the Nisa Defile. She is placed into Tarja's care. I'm guessing that scar on her face is from where she used to have that mark, and she took it off. I forgot how they pronounced his name. Goetz? I feel like that's not right, but I'm just going to call him Goetz for now. Goetz, one of Sid's trusted allies, a gentle giant who has a warm word for everyone. Blackthorn, resident blacksmith of Sid's Hideaway, a sullen and secretive sort who prefers to drown his woes in drink than to share them. This dude, the Hideaway's resident historian, whose love for books has earned him the nickname Tomes. Tomes traveled to Valisthea as a youth, seeking to unearth the secrets of this land of legend, and over the years has developed a deep knowledge of Valisthean geography, history, religion, and folklore. Annabella Rossfield, Duchess of Rosario, wife of Archduke Elwyn. Man, did he pick his wife. He did a good job picking his wife. Let's just say that. Let me start with this. Duchess of Rosario, wife of Archduke Elwyn, and mother of Clive and Joshua. While she adores her younger son, she treats Clive and Jill with naught but thinly veiled contempt. It was not only her beauty, but her connection to a bloodline that produced many previous dominants of the Phoenix that led to her being proposed as a bride for the young Archduke. Connection to a bloodline that produced many previous dominants of the Phoenix. Okay. Well, I guess that was... So he didn't marry her because of love or anything. He just married her because... Well, she was good looking. But also because there's a good chance that she would still give him the dominant. Keep the dominant in the royal family. But is that not just a given? Like... Is it possible for the dominant to be born elsewhere, not along the royal family? Maybe. Indeed, the two are cousins. Okay. I guess I didn't read far enough into that. Indeed, the two are cousins. Having known from a young age that her purpose in life was to preserve her phoenix-bearing bloodline, she dotes on Joshua and scorns Clive. Well, are they first cousins? Second, third? That, that makes a lot of difference still. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying it's a good thing to get with your third cousins, but I'm just saying it's a lot better if they're third cousins than first. It was never her purpose in life to preserve her phoenix-bearing bloodline, for which reason she betrayed her husband. That she might enter in league with the force she judged the mighty, or the holy empire of Sandbreak. It was Annabella's treachery that led to the disaster at Phoenix Gate. Man, this game has some fucking bitches so far. This bitch. This bitch. Man, I got some bitches I'm ready to put in their place. Rodney Murdoch, Lord Commander of the Rosarian Army, outranked only by his firm friend Archduke Elwyn. Murdoch and his shields accompanied Elwyn and Joshua to Phoenix Gate to perform the rite of ancestral communion, only to be set upon first by Imperial infiltrators, then a second shadowy icon of fire, within whose flames Murdoch was engulfed. What a way to go. I don't like that it gives me the last article for them to read first. But he trained Clive and then he got killed. Sir Wade, a loyal shield of Rosaria chosen by Lord Commander Rodney Murdoch to accompany Clive on his expedition to Stillwind, once but a low-born page. Wade was inspired to join the ranks after a woodpile fell on him, and his life was saved by young Joshua. A loyal shield of Rosaria chosen by Lord Commander Rodney Murdoch to accompany Clyde, yada yada. Though he did all he could to return the favor that he owed to Joshua for saving his life as a boy during the attack on Phoenix Gate. Wade was to meet the same fate as the prince. So all these people are in fact dead. I was thinking maybe somehow Wade, Tyler, Murdoch, maybe they all survived. Somehow we can run across them again later. But maybe, I guess not. Unless the game is just trying to give the impression that, hey, these people are known to be dead. But maybe they're still alive, actually, but it's not known they're still alive, but I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't hold my breath. Sir Tyler, a loyal shield of Rosaria, and scion of a noble family, Tyler followed in his father's footsteps, and entering the service of the duchy, rising to the position of right-hand man to the Lord Commander. He was chosen by Lord Murdoch to accompany Clive on his expedition to Stillwind, a level head who would be trusted not only to obey the young Lord Marcus's orders and keep him safe, but to help keep the fiery Sir Wade in line. Though he did everything in his power to assist Joshua, the Archduke Owen's flight from Phoenix Gate on the night of the attack, his years of distinguished service were to come to a close when he was swallowed by the flames of the rampaging Phoenix. Tiamat, a bear in service of the Holy Empire of Sanbreque. Tiamat is the leader of the elite assassin squadron to which Wyvern is assigned, the Bastards. Their latest mission to take the head of the dominant of Shiva. To this end, they infiltrate the Nisa defile, where the forces of the Republic of Dalmatia and the Iron Kingdom are aligned against each other. Though none know his true name, rumor has it that the man now known as Tiamat was born a scion of a noble Sanbroquis family, and abandoned to his fate after his powers awakened. Tiamat, or the man who now bears the name, is the leader of the Bastards, a squadron of elite assassins. It was on a mission to take the head of Shiva's dominant and the Nisa defile that his subordinate Wyvern, real name Clive Rossfield, turned upon him and cut him down. Bias. Second longest serving of the Bastards, an elite band of slave assassins in service of the Holy Empire of Sanbreque. He and his sergeant Tiamat fought alongside each other for many a year, and Bias trusted him with his life. Alas, there was little Tiamat could do to save him from the boulder that was to fall from the skies during their ill-fated mission to infiltrate the Dalmatian Republic and take the head of Shiva's dominant. Avis, a branded soldier for the Holy Empire of Sanbreque, who served alongside Wyvern. None know his true name. He and his band of elite assassins were tasked with taking the head of the dominant of Shiva, but he was to lose his life to a crusader's axe in the course of the mission. Dalmatian Chief Strategist, the former field marshal of the Dalmatian Republic. While there was a time he took personal command of his troops, Hugo Kupka's rise to prominence led to his being recalled from the battlefield by reason of his advancing age, for which he bears a vainglorious dominant, a deep-seated grudge. The Republican Prime Minister, leader of the Dalmatian Parliament, and the eldest and most experienced of its members, those elected by the states of the Republic, plus the dominant of Titan, who serves as an official advisor. Alas, Hugo Kupka does not take kindly to his advice being ignored. Benedicta's right hand. Second in command of Wayload's royal intelligencers, serving under Benedictus Harmon, with whom he shares a deep bond of trust. Moss the Chronicler, far-fated scholar of Valestinian history and legend, even to this day much of the surviving knowledge of the distant antiquity of the twins issues from his quill. In his later years, his writings attracted fierce criticism from certain scholarly circles, which resulted in him removing himself from the public life. The Dominant of Fire, a mysterious figure who was first seen amid the chaos of the Imperial invasion of Phoenix Gate, immediately before the appearance of the second Icon of Fire, the very icon that slew the heir of the ducal throne. Clive believes this man to be the Dominant who murdered his brother and has sworn to take his revenge.
You are always welcome, Clive.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back real soon, actually. Let me just complete the side quest real quick and wrap up this video.
All done, I presume? Splendid.
They were bearers. All three of them. Not slaves waiting upon their master's pleasure, but men waiting to be fed like equals.
Indeed, equality is the very cornerstone upon which our little community is founded. Beyond these walls, we are scorned as slaves, speaking only when spoken to, eating only what scraps our masters deign to give us. The first hot meal here is the first many will have known. In the hideaway, we are free, truly free to speak as we please, when we please, and to eat what and when we desire. More than reason enough to trust in Sid's vision, wouldn't you say? Now, I promised you something for your trouble, did I not? The contents of my strongbox are yours to do with as you will. Thank you, Clive. Do come and visit me again, won't you?
Thank you. Alright, so I am going to end this one here.